I'll tell you what, we're gonna start the pre-game here, if you will, and then we'll see as everybody rolls in. We'll just warn them we're live.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just gotta get this damn thing working.
I'll do you.
Yeah, the two of them are working. Facebook's fucking murked.
Yeah, that's Facebook.
That is Facebook. Fuck that shit. Oh, it's looking like it's just gonna be the two of us.
Maybe. I think Juniper was talking about showing up, but we'll see.
Hopefully, but if not, we can have a classic one. We can just talk video games. Like I could go on for hours about fucking Persona, man.
Oh, I know. I know. We've done it.
Yeah, I'd do it again. Oh shit! Somebody answered my question in my union group.
Union group. Sir, are you unionizing behind my back?
No, I've been unionizing in your face, dude. I've been. You see? Well,
Well,
hold on,
good.
hold on. Oh,
Good.
I gotta
Keep it up.
watch. I said, "Is there any news on the supervisory grievance?" And they like, and then somebody else from one of the other offices like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, we grieve that the pay grade 8 supervisor, because we fucking did. I grieved the shit out of that, my friend. I'm a pay grade 7 supervisor. I can be supervised for an 8, and that's literally the only job difference. Fuck that. You paying me my money.
Nice.
This steward, he's swinging.
Ooh.
Yeah, that and I just took a run at like the director, so of our organization.
Ooh.
I told my peers. I said, stop doing lower classification work. He promised us mandatory OT to do that. We're gonna make him pay for it because I don't think he can afford it.
Hmm.
I don't think we got the money. I think he's full of shit. And I'm calling his bluff.
That's what's up, dude. Keeping it gangster.
Yeah, I normally like. Here's the thing, man. Normally, I try to make sure that the day runs in such a way that the rank and file don't have a problem, the supervisors don't have a problem. Whatever it takes to do that, right? Usually it means kind of being willing to go with the flow a little more than maybe a steward should. But I decided here that if they're going to piss me off repeatedly, and then what they did, the last thing that they did was we are trying to clear out god awful old cases and get these people their goddamn money or their answer. And my man decided to sabotage the ever living shit out of us by dumping a fresh round of.
That's no good.
No, that's no good at all. We can't play nice in the sandbox if that's how we're going to play.
True that. They're gonna take a turn in the sandbox. You got to deal with it.
Yeah. We are either going to play everybody's going to play friendly or we're going to have a piss fight. Which do you want? That's your choice. I'm willing to choose either the
But
piss
ju-
fight or
but just know that my bladder is entirely full.
so full of urine.
So full.
So full of urine. I can do a piss fight. I can do a piss fight like a goddamn boss. I don't want to
You
do a
think
piss
I was
fight.
wait?
No, here's the thing, man. I don't want to do a piss fight. I don't want to be piss fighting people. I don't want to. I don't want to piss
It it
fight a
is it
mother.
is it is unrewarding.
Yeah, it's not nice to piss fight a motherfucker, but I'm telling you what, motherfucker gonna make me piss fight. Motherfucker gonna get a piss fight. It
I
don't.
mean, if they ask for the piss fight, they've stupid prizes. They've earned their piss fight.
That's exactly right. You're gonna play stupid games. You're gonna win some motherfucking stupid prizes, and that prize right now is a piss fight
Ooh,
with me.
with you,
With me.
my favorite piss fight opponent.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
My man,
That's
my man's so serious about his piss fights, he gets piss fight grenades.
Yeah,
it's true.
I really do though.
He's got frozen piss on the ready.
I got
I
so much
knew
frozen
it.
piss on the ready. Yeah. So somebody wants to start a piss fight with me. Well, somebody did want to start a piss fight with me. They called my staff slow and useless, and then they said that because they're slow and useless,
Ooh.
you're going to clean up their work on mandatory OT. And I said, Well, the fuck I am. I don't remember agreeing to that, motherfucker. If you think they're so slow and useless, by all means, you go ahead and handle them. You tell that to their face, but no, it's going to be me who pays for it. Which, here's the thing, I don't think they're slow and useless. I think they've done quite a good job.
That's the moment where you pop up out of the grass with a full ghillie suit on and a piss full of a piss filled super soaker.
Yeah. Because why the fuck not? Why shouldn't I?
Why not?
They asked for it. They wanted me to be mad. Well, I got mad. What else did they think they were going to get?
Money?
You mad, bro?
I am a little.
You mad,
Is it
bro?
money?
How
I'm a little
could you
dude.
tell?
Did they think they were going to get money? Do I win?
No, what they thought they were going to do is scare me into behaving a certain way, when all they managed to do was piss me the ever living f off.
It was all anime shower scenes for them, and then they spotted tentacle.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, spaghetti-o. Yeah. So that's what's happening over at my workplace right now. You
Oh,
know,
that's unfortunate.
it is. But again, people want to piss fight with me. They want to have their little fun. They think I'm fucking joking. They think I'm all giggles and sunshine. Well, I don't happen to be all giggles and sunshine. I don't know if you know this.
I'm mostly giggles and
Mm,
sunshine.
You are. You are. You would be a very bad union man. I would have a hell of a time with you right now. I know it.
I would
I
probably cause you frustration. Not
I
intentionally. That's the worst part.
Yeah, you'd be
It's
such
not
a little
like,
doer.
yeah, it's one of those where it's like people around me often are less good at their jobs because I will just inherently do extra work because it's easier for me to
Yeah.
do it than to watch it get undone.
Yeah. Hey, give me a second.
okay. I got giggles on the ready myself. I got giggles. I got the giggles, but I got no sunshine. So what? Giggles in darkness.
Got no sunshine, hold me down.
Giggles in doom. Googles in.
Ghouls and good. Gouda?
Giggles in Gouda. That just sounds messy. Like the cheese helmet. Like the King Midas.
Yeah.
Giggles. Giggles the clown. Man. Banana man. So what you been up to, bro?
Nothing much. How about yourself? Anything fun and
You know.
exciting?
Nah, just a lot of work.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. The capitalist trap.
Mm-hmm.
Fucker.
Always with the capitalism.
This year I've resolved to attempt to be 10% more communist. That is my current goal.
Sir, you look like you were even a 1% chance you were happy. We're gonna have to remove that. That's 1% of productivity you stole from us.
I am I am looking forward to slowly attempting to figure out how to convert my coworkers. It's going to be a weird one. I'm going to have some weird pitches here, but I think I got the skills to pay the bills. I think it can be done.
My workplace is sales, so they can't. That's hard to do.
So's mine. That's the interesting part.
Although I do see a lot of grievances with rich people, so
Well, you gotta have.
Exactly.
because we so often deal with them,
Yeah, which is kind of a problem. I mean, who wants to deal with a rich person?
right?
Yeah, it's gross. They smell terrible. They're rude.
Tired of dealing with your rich snobbery.
Goddamn rich snobs everywhere, just being a bunch of shit pigs.
Got to
Yeah.
play their ego all day long. Like,
And
oh
they're
man,
like, "Oh, you gotta
I'm gonna
touch my back pussy, 'cause my front
I'm gonna
pussy is
screw them over, but
Jesus.
I'm gonna make them think they're doing good.
My back pussy's for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. I can't believe you don't believe in Him." And you're like, "You just talked about your back pussy, and you're a fucking 53-year-old man." And I'm fucking, and then they'll be like, "I'm fucking straight. What are you, gay or something? Fucking not wanting to see my back pussy?" And you're like, "The fuck, dude?"
This is getting weird. Don't
It's
know how to
getting weird.
approach it.
And
Are
then
you
he's
gonna
like,
blow out his
and
back
then he's
pussy?
like, and then he's like, "I want you to sell me this because I don't want to see no black people anymore." And you're like, "What the fuck, dude? This is getting real hostile. I didn't do shit to you." And he's like, "I'm the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm gonna suck your dick
And
through a straw." And you're like,
I'm
"What the fuck,
bringing the
man?
back pussy.
Just don't go back to talking about your fucking old man back pussy. That was somehow more comfortable. Everything you're doing now is creepy as shit." And he's like, "I'm gonna rape you." And you're like, "Jesus Christ, I think you will." Rich people are awful, man. I just know that my time at Sears was terrible. Sears was fucked up for me. Like, it's just these fat, sweaty dudes with like fucking American flag fucking t-shirts, and I'm like in my little polo or whatever, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to buy a TV?" And they're like, "I'm gonna go commit a felony rape tonight." And you're like, that was not
That
at all
was
the
not what I
intent.
offered you.
I didn't offer you that. I didn't ask you that.
Why did you bring it up? It's weird that you pointed it out.
You,
I mean, I knew, but it's weird that you're bringing it up specifically.
dude, I am trying to sell a TV here. I don't know what the fuck prompted you to think like that was the correct thing to say to me. It was not. And they're like, "Yeah, I fucking ate my wife's ass, and by my wife's ass, I mean my dog." And then you're like, "Did you mean the dog's ass?" And they're like, "Fuck yeah." And it's like, everything about
I
this is
don't know.
uncomfortable. This is just rape.
This is
All you're
getting
doing
worse
is a
and
rape.
worse.
Every time you talk, I feel sexually violated, and they're like, "Good." You're like, "That's also a fucked up thing to say."
Not the way we want you to react, sir.
My friend, you are not supposed to. I don't even want to call you friend. Never mind. Guy who is sexually harassing me right now. That is not. None of this is stuff I want to hear. Do you understand? You're like, "Oh fuck, man. Yeah, sales is. I don't know how you guys do sales. Sales is fucked up. I had to get out of that shit. It's oops all rapists. Ugh. Every customer. "Hey, you want to buy a John Deere tractor?" And they're like, "I'll murder everybody in this store." And you're like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "I want $200 off that $3,000 tractor, or I will come here and commit a murder." That escalate again. Like it's just a series of aggressive escalations, and you don't know why. You don't know why. They don't tell you. They don't give you a reason to escalate it. They're like, "It's a clever negotiating tactic if I threaten to murder everybody in this Sears." And you're like, "The fuck is this?"
I
God.
Well, that's
have had. I have not had that reaction. I have done basic math for customers in my head, and they have definitely jumped up in response and been like, "You're a wizard, Harry," and fucking left on me. Like, just literal, the most basic math. And they're like, "No, fuck all this. This is too complicated. I'm leaving."
No, all I got was oops all rapists, and like I get it. I was pretty back in the day.
Sorry.
so yeah. Nope, that's the finest moment in Crunchberries.
Yeah, it's not though.
It really changes the context of those berries.
Hi, I suck.
Okay,
Those little,
why?
those little blue balls.
Um,
That was perfect timing. Excellent. Excellent. Why do you suck? What did you do? Who did you betray to the CIA?
I didn't betray anyone to the CIA. I made a point out of being like, oh yeah, I'm going to show up at 10.
Well, we weren't going to tattle on you, but now that you have, the floodgates open. Yeah, I like how you're like, you bitches never show up to work on time, and we're like, we're sorry, we'll show up. And then you're like, fuck you, haha, I was kidding.
No, I never.
That's a big dick flex right there. Good for you.
It
We're
honestly,
impressed.
yeah. I mean, not for nothing. It felt real good right now to like look in and be like, fuck yeah, all three of them are up in that piece.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still looking for my fucking headphones though. No,
What's LT doing? Where's his ass at?
who the fuck knows?
Ugh, yeah, he's doing drugs somewhere. He's like,
He's
I gotta get coked the fuck out.
no,
All the coke, all the time.
All the goddamn.
he's got a he's got like a family and shit.
I have a family. I still show up to work relatively on time.
I do
Well,
not have a
I think
family,
he
and I
shows up
also
to
get aggressively confused at work.
Yeah.
Daniel, may I point something out to you?
You may.
You're a union employee, right?
Uh-huh.
Right on. Unions are great.
They are.
What local does LG belong to?
He's not in a union, I believe.
Oh,
No,
you
no,
don't
he told
say.
me.
Why
He
is
told
that?
me he's in the local Walrus Touchers Union. I forget why he brought that one up specifically, but he did bring that one up repeatedly and specifically to me.
We asked him not to.
Yeah, he was
But I mean,
like, "Man,
I'm talking about like the union for his paid employment. For his paid employment.
oh, not the thing that he loves to do." Got it.
Do you want me to
right.
Okay, do you want me to give you a dead ass reason? Because when I told him to go get a union job, he told me to go fuck myself.
Oh.
Yeah, he was like, no, y'all, I like touching walruses, and the union won't like none of that.
It's true. He did repeatedly also say that for some reason. I don't.
Yeah. Union ain't gonna like it if I'm
Are
out
you
there
fucking
touching
kidding
walruses.
me?
No, he didn't really tell me to go fuck myself. What he did say is like, yeah, maybe I will. Then he didn't.
Well, no, I mean
I don't know how you manage
well,
it, but
shit.
you
My
both have.
understanding. I mean, and I think this is an important thing to like talk about. My understanding is that in the blessed caliphate of South Carolina, it's notoriously hard to like actually get a union.
Government. I told him to go government.
Oh.
Yeah, where they hand you a fucking union.
How do you know? Excuse me, sir. How do you know that that's an option for him? Right? I'm just saying.
I don't, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's not a non-option.
Okay, but like let's just say, for the sake of argument, maybe it's not LG. Maybe it's Joe Bag of Donuts. Okay.
Joe Bag of Dicks. Gotcha.
All right. If you want to be,
I know.
If you want to be spicy.
Yeah.
So Joe Bag of Dicks.
Uh-huh.
Let's say he's exactly like LG in every way, except he's not.
Except he's Joe Bag of Dicks.
Right, except he's Joe Bag of Dicks.
Yeah.
So you're like, you tell Joe Bag of Dicks, go get a government job.
Which I would.
But what does that mean? Go get a government job in what? Give me a for instance.
Well, okay, he does labor occupations, so like
Stop. Okay. Labor occupation.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay, all right. Now that's that. Or what are we? Okay, what are we doing all these questions for? Because it's starting to get real fucking pedantic. We know he does heavy labor. I don't want to out him too much in the real world.
Well, that's why I'm trying to be vague. But here's the point. Like, okay, so he's let's say he's got a skill that they can fucking use. Like, these places ask questions. Sometimes it's
They ain't gonna ask him about the walrus pit or his fucking podcast. The governments aren't usually allowed to do stuff like that, except in Texas, where they can make you swear on a Star of David that you're going to worship Israel as your new god until all the Jews are eradicated and cleansed from the face of the earth. So
Yeah, fun fact. That's why I can't live in Texas anymore.
that's why you got kicked out of Texas. In fact, is you were like, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do that, and they were like, the fuck you aren't, and you were like,
really weird.
this is really
I'm
well,
leaving.
this is a weird hill to die
I
on, buddy, but I am glad
apologize.
you're dead.
No,
Something
you're
steers and queers.
Daniel, thank you for stopping me, because like I didn't pre-plan this. So
Yeah.
here's the deal. I know a lot of people, like, they might have let's say, like, a drunk driving conviction in their background, or maybe they got arrested on a drug charge,
Or
or
they did a Hitler.
maybe they got caught with a gun that, like, technically they should not have had, or there's
Or
a
maybe they killed that
million
hooker in
things.
GTA.
I'm sorry.
Or maybe they killed that hooker in GTA.
Or maybe they did. Like, who the fuck knows? But I'm just saying, like, a lot of people have gotten tagged for things that, like, maybe the government wouldn't care for. What do you do about that?
Give me 1 second. That's what I do about that.
Okay.
Okay. As a side note, I don't know how, but your impression of our South Carolinian is both simultaneously nothing like him at all, and somehow perfect. I don't know how it's both. It's this weird southern twang that's like definitely not in any way close to the right voice, but also somehow correct.
Contradiction. Yeah.
Wow, really, way to fill the dead air. Even I heard that shit. Yeah, no, anyway, all right. So, yeah, labor occupations. There's a lot of state-based labor occupations. The obvious one is something like the highway patrol, which or not highway patrol, not like law enforcement, which is like shady shit to get into, but like
the flag wavers.
no, flag waivers are usually actually contracted out, believe it or not.
I believe it.
I think that holds. I know it holds true for our state, so I'm pretty sure it holds true for the others. But like the actual road workers,
They just hire a bunch of Mexicans to hold the flags.
yeah, the actual road workers. They don't hire. Well, no, but like around here, like okay, so like in my town, right, Flagger Force employs primarily speaking people who are on the wait list to get into PennDOT, and those people skew a little darker than the Mexicans. How about that? Skew a
Can
little.
you put a more racist point on it?
No, because the point there is you see a different kind of discrimination. You see colorism. Like our Flagger Force people tend to be black, and our PennDOT workers tend to be white, and the black people are usually on the wait list. It's not like we don't have black PennDOT workers even out in my little rural shithole, but you tend to see a discrepancy, which is its own fucking problem. But I mean, like for our buddy, like that's still the angle I would start working. Because he's used to those heavy labor occupations. I don't know how he would handle it in a fucking office setting.
But
Well,
what about our brothers and sisters that have criminal backgrounds that might prohibit us from doing those things?
If your union's any good, that won't matter.
I mean, I'm not saying about things occurring during your employment.
Neither did
I mean, like, getting the job in the first place.
Yeah, neither did I. I mean, I wouldn't write bad checks. If I were, like, it also depends on your offense when it comes to state work, usually. Like, where I work, if you've been caught writing bad checks or doing financial crimes, they'll tell you to get the fuck out. Because I work with the public's money.
What about if you were inappropriate with children and have a record of that?
I don't work with kids. That actually isn't a barrier to employment if it's not a fucking felony. I know. I can't elaborate why I know that's true, but
And I'm not asking.
it's not me. I want to stress that it's not me, but I have had union brothers and sisters of dubious backgrounds before. And precisely because, like, where I work, we don't work directly with the public often, and we don't work with children at all. In fact, we're not supposed to be conducting business with anybody under 18. Like, I don't need childcare clearances.
My office is specifically prohibited from dealing with children.
Mm-hmm. It's because we deal with money.
Yeah, children and money don't mix.
Mm-mm. So we can't, like...
What do you mean? Epstein told me they did.
Oh.
What are you
Is it too
confessing to live
soon?
on the air?
That's the one. That's the one.
What did you just confess to live on air?
Is that the one? That's the joke that went too far?
Yeah.
Ugh,
Spicy. Just a little spice.
motherfuckers.
In that
Jenks,
regard, are we using this as a
you
teachable moment?
hit
Is that
on.
the game here?
Apparently.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
Is the game here that I'm supposed to upsell what I do? Because I can upsell it way better than I am.
No, I was legitimately asking, like, if you have, let's say, like, if somebody took a look at your rap sheet, say, and
Well,
right, and like, so let's just say, like, if somebody did like a complete, like, creepy surveillance fucking background of you.
Basically, if it's under a felony, you should be fine, right?
yeah, as long as it doesn't, like, as long as it's not a crime that's specifically antithetical to the work you're doing. Like I said, like, we had, like, you can't be doing financial fraud where I work. But PennDOT don't give a shit. PennDOT ain't gonna let you drive their trucks if you got a fucking laundry list of DUIs, though. We don't give a shit about DUIs. I can confirm. I know for a fact.
How many DUIs is too many, though?
Well, if it gets you incarcerated, that's too many. Well, I don't need a license.
Quite a few DUIs.
Well, no, like, like, back in the day, I happened to know a guy that had been picked up more than once for it, but, like, somehow it kept getting knocked down to, like, first offense.
Yeah, first offense probably won't do it unless that first offense comes with jail time. Like, you have to be, your first offense has to be comically
What if it
high.
happens
There's a
when
chart.
What if it happens when you are charged with eluding law enforcement officers?
Probably, we're adding a lot of layers here that don't bode well, is what I'm saying. Like,
Well, if they evaded the cops, then there's nothing to talk about.
yeah, if they did their job right, evading the police, I don't see why this is even a matter of discussion. So apparently they didn't do too good.
Right? You should never be charged with eluding. Eluding.
Yeah, because if they were able to charge you, they were able to find you.
Right.
What is Juniper? What if
you should have gone
Juniper's
out
gonna
the
be like,
honorable way?
Yeah.
Juniper's gonna be like, what if it was literally Tupac? What if literally Tupac applied to your job?
Tupac.
Yeah.
Wait, no, but there's a very. I'm sorry. I wish I had given you a map for this beforehand. So here's the thing. Would you agree, like, if that specific set of circumstances existed, perhaps that person would not be employable at, like, a lot of state-based, government jobs?
There's a non-zero chance that could happen, but again, like your union should be involved there, and most of these states have a union. I forget which ones don't. Wisconsin
I'm
knows.
talking
Like,
about hiring.
yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Specifically
But your union
hiring.
controls the terms of your hire too. Your union negotiates that. Like again, I can only speak from my own experience and what I've read, but your union has control over that to some degree. Like, so when you're talking about like our blessed Commonwealth, the unions are already involved in those stages of negotiation. Like we've done the work. We spelled out the terms, and that's not necessarily disqualifying prima facie. Again, if it's the right kind of thing, yeah, come on. What are we supposed to do about that? Like we can't have a,
If you have been
Convicted
convicted of
sex
stealing
offenders.
money, you can't fuck with money anymore.
basically, yeah, you got to do something non-money, but you can still get a job doing this kind of shit.
You can't fuck with children. If
No.
you fuck with children, there are certain jobs you can't do anymore.
Right.
And most of them involve children.
Surprise!
Surprise, shorty.
Ew.
I might do this all over.
That's what got you in trouble in the first place, by the by.
Sir,
I'm
we're
feeling
gonna have to
spicy
stop.
today. What do you want from me?
We're gonna have to have you stop by HR.
We might have to have him stop by
Okay.
HR. But yeah, I mean that's my point there. So like when you're dealing with this stuff, the union has already set forth terms, and there's something rather obvious with it because they will run a background check. They're not stupid. They've dealt with all this shit before. So if like I wouldn't bother applying to a place if I knew I wasn't like entirely qualified to work there, because that's just going to waste your time and theirs, and that's still going to leave you fucked on having that union job. You need to go after that union money.
They're gonna check your references.
Yeah, they're going to check. Well, they're going to check your criminal record, because again, you can't. Where I work, they're going to check to see if you have a bunch of financial crimes. They're going to check any government education institution whether or not you've been out there diddling, because that do be a bad plan.
I don't know what you
And
mean.
they're gonna check. They're gonna check if you condemn Hamas.
Not in our state.
But at a federal level, they'll definitely double check the Hamas question.
Yes. Yeah, I can't save you there. The feds are cuckoo.
It's just a little Hamas. Just a
a little Hamas.
It's just a bit of
I thought this
Hamas.
was America.
I encountered Hamas once at a party, but I didn't inhale.
Yeah, Hamas only dicked me down. I didn't do nothing like terrorism.
No,
You know, they was so
I
charming
tried
and
Hamas
thoughtful,
once.
and they had me join, and it was wonderful, and I just found out it was Hamas after. I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I only knew
No,
it
like
was
I said,
Hamas after I got
I'm going with the Bill Clinton weed defense.
Y'all
I'm
act
gonna-
like y'all never got going to a party, got all trashed, and ended up in Hamas.
Yeah, dude.
You know, it was Tijuana.
So no
You
shit,
know,
there
famous
I
Hamas
was,
stronghold.
and Hamas.
Yeah, how was I supposed to know there was Hamas to that party?
I saw a guy, he was walking around, and he put something in this person's glass, and I was like, oh my god, is that Hamas?
Like, goddamn, dude, that's Hamas? Fuck.
Damn, that's crazy, bro.
Fuck, these motherfuckers is crazy.
Oops, I fucked with Hamas.
Hey, Hoyt, I didn't know you like to get Hamas.
There were a bunch of bitches in here getting Hamased.
This might be the one that cancels us. We're just sitting here saying Hamas.
HAM-ASS. SED exclamation mark.
Yeah,
You're
Hamas.
gonna have a whole Hamas pep rally. I thought it was just the name of the team. I didn't know that it was. They won that game.
Yeah. You gotta put your whole ass Hamas in it.
Mm-hmm.
Put your Hamas up in it. Put a little Hamas on it.
Some Hamas sauce.
Hummusy.
Yeah, it's like Bussy. You just gotta put a little Hamas on it. Put a little stank on it.
I get some extra hummusy up in here.
Hummusy. Yo, this motherfucker was eating my hummusy. I don't know what to do.
And I found this weird back alley doctor, and they had this coat. And when he flipped open that trench coat, I was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna die!" But it was cool. He was like, "I got some Hamas over here.
And that's
First
when
time, first time's free."
and that's when they held me down. And they Hamased me. It was terrible. I was very, very violated, do you see? I was violated so terribly.
Reports of it, there are kind of like reports of like alien interventions. Like
Yeah.
there was a bright light and I was
Wake up in a crop
Hamas.
circle. You wake up
When
in a
I
crop
became
circle.
I was in
when I
another world.
became aware again, like
20,000 leagues of Hamas.
You wake up in a crop circle that looks like a Palestinian flag, and wake up with a watermelon on your head.
Yeah. I was like, fuck me, dude. This is
wait,
Hamas.
what's the watermelon thing? A, is that real? B,
Yes.
is real.
Oh. Also
But
yes.
Yeah, boy.
but no, but the I saw a couple like I try to avoid a lot of chatter, but I've seen things where they're like, oh, the watermelon is a representation of the Palestinian people, and I'm like, is it really like is?
Yeah, they black people.
They do treat them like black people.
But I mean, is that why? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's like a thing of resilience. They
Yeah.
they they used to sell, if I remember correctly, they used to sell, and it was like a big
Somewhere
thing for
down
them.
south. Yeah.
What's wrong with
Who
watermelons?
used to wait? No,
Why not watermelons? Why not
Why did
watermelons?
watermelons get associated with that?
Because it was an easy crop it was an easy crop to get into farming once you were liberated from the actual what was called them death
oh,
camps.
they grow like weeds if you have the seeds.
Yeah, so they were a cheap
Mm.
crop. But what ended up happening is that was a trap too because you could mass produce them pretty quickly, pretty cheaply. So they would sell these seeds, these farmers for a very high price. They'd overpry it. They'd overcharge on them, and they would trap them into selling this low cost crop, flooding the market with it to make it widely available, which then became, for especially that population, a good source of vitamin C for survival and other essential vitamins. It was very easy to keep them in nutrition, but it was also very easy to keep them in debt because the market price was so goddamn low.
Fascinating.
Yeah, they would put them in debt
It
for
was
like
like
ridiculous amounts.
so it was like everybody in I don't know fucking Stardew Valley or whatever shit people play. Like if everybody just buys the cheapest crop, well, everybody will starve.
Well, no, it's
You
actually
got to diversify your portfolio.
well, it wasn't that. It was the fact that watermelons didn't fetch a large price of the market anyway, but they could sell to these people who couldn't read. They could give them incredibly large bills of sale that if a white person read it, they would see that they had an incredibly large bill of sale, but they wouldn't. Some of them wouldn't know better until they consulted somebody who could read. Right? You either had to have a generous, honest white person, which down south was whoa Russian roulette, or you had to have a black relative or like a Native American that you knew that to rely on to be able to translate these documents for you. Right? And again, you also had to
Oh,
trust that they weren't in on the fix. So they would give them these incredibly high bills of sales for watermelon seeds, like, and we're talking like the equivalent of like Imagine buying commercial property for a bucket of watermelon seeds. Like that's the debt they would put these human beings in. And then because it's a very cheap crop, it would grow very rapidly. But when they went to the market, of course these people like wouldn't always have the tools they would need to operate in that market because they just came out of slavery and they're just like, yeah, good fucking luck in the market, right? So they would get this incredibly cheap crop that the whites didn't want to grow because it was not very profitable on the margin. You had to really look on the margins to see your profit, but you could keep people in debt slavery then that way by forcing them to grow the watermelons. And because they were a cheap crop, if you were a poor black person, it was very easy to acquire those because it was cheap. You could fill yourself, you got hydrated, and it was cheap. So
Yeah.
that's where it became this. That's where the racist stereotype comes from. It's not necessarily that they just fucking magically love watermelon as is often portrayed, and it's the fact that it was a cheap food that kept black people in a new kind of slavery and kept them oppressed as a lower class. That way, white farmers could keep growing expensive cash crops that had a high profit margin and continue the wealth inequality.
I mean, I'm not shocked that at the end it was all
You really wanted
a
to know,
ploy.
so there you
Yeah,
go.
I did ask.
it was the racism after all.
It was the
Too, too,
racism
too long
after
didn't read.
all.
Too long didn't read. They black people.
Yeah. And that's why,
You're right.
like, that's why I bring up that illustration of like we have PennDOT workers who are more often white disproportionately, and we have like services like Flagger Force where they're disproportionately black because Flagger Force will hire them. And that's a way into the PennDOT sphere as a barrier to entry that you've done road work before. But consequently, if you've done government work before, which is you're probably coded as white unless you're in one of our major urban areas, number one, just by sheer percentage of population, number two, um, because that is a lower middle class job ultimately, right? You can get in and have a comfortable life. You won't be rich. I'm not rich by any imagination, but I have a comfortable life. I have my money for toys and I pay for my kids and healthcare and so on, right? Well,
Mhm.
the function of that, I don't think I would loathe to call the Commonwealth an open set of racists on this, but it is undeniable. Like let's say I leave out intent for a moment, right? Because I don't want to disparage my employer. I would hate to impugn them. I don't think the governor, for example, is an open out and out racist. I think he would find that abhorrent. But it changes nothing about the material outcomes of putting black people in second class citizenship yet again, because you disproportionately have young whites and older black people. And it's odd that you have young, inexperienced whites paired with older black people who presumably have a wealth of job experience, especially very possibly in that field. It's even weirder when
Yeah.
you catch one of their supervisors, and their supervisor is maybe somebody a little bit younger than me. Now, he's making less than me. That's not really unionized in this state, but he's making less than me. He's younger than me, but he is making less, significantly so. Like, we're talking like mid tens compared to the workers there who are earning 12 an hour. But you look at the age of those workers who are earning 12 an hour and you look at their
Mid
rates,
tens,
like
as in dollars per hour.
correct, mid tens, yeah. They tend to start at around 11 to 12 an hour. And I imagine that's gone up to about
Oh,
14.
oh,
And then their supervisors would probably make about 17, 18.
supervisors.
Uh-huh.
What's the qual? I mean, do they have like hardcore qualifications for being a supervisor?
I imagine on the job experience in that field.
No degree expectations.
I wouldn't think so.
How about like technical certifications?
There's some level of that, but I think they do. I think they take care of all that. That's part. I imagine that whatever technical certifications they need to uphold, I imagine the employer is paying for those, and that's part of their justification for low compensation. But I don't think they need to
Yeah.
have very many
Do
either.
you have to have graduated high school?
Yes, most likely,
Oh, okay.
or have the GED equivalent. I would expect you might not though for entry level. You probably don't. Entry level, you just have to be able to establish you're a functioning adult and you can follow direction. That's what I would guess is the real core. And then probably for the supervisors, there are some more rigorous minimum standards by comparison, but you're also making sub 20 an hour. At my position, the entry level position here is operating at something like 25 as a standard. And then the position below me, well, they might be down to 20. They might be at 22. I think they're at 22 because the middle one is 20. Yeah, the middle one's 26, and then like my job as a supervisor is 29 starting. But that's if you enter as a one. You're most likely not entering as a one. Like I entered as a six.
I don't know what any of that means.
It means that on the pay scale, based on years of service,
I
because
mean, I guessed it means the pay scale. I just
it's
meant
the
like
pay
I don't know
scale.
what that. Yeah.
The other
Tilts
thing
you
with
up longer.
yeah,
It's
because
pretty straightforward.
I have so much seniority that when I entered into this position from my previous position, I got to retain a certain quantity of it.
Dope.
Yeah, I'll be going
No,
into a
that's
seven.
good because you can't always translate things if you're hopping from like one branch to another and there's not an exact, you
Yeah,
know, job category that exactly describes what you do. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, still supervisor's still a supervisor. We're still grunts. We're still logistics employees, primarily human logistics.
But
That doesn't change. When you talk about something like I'm doing that's so wage tied, the difference between me and the private market is the private market can discriminate based on gender and seniority and things like that. Another good reason to have the union pay scale and get in with the union is because your pay scale is fixed. It is a combination of job classification and seniority, and that pretty much holds true in the private market as well because those unions make it hold true. Their business agents and their union support structure enforces that, or they will discriminate against an employer. They'll counter protest them. So like a journeyman one for an electrician gets a fixed rate, but if he has 3 years as a journeyman before he becomes the next step, he'll get an increased rate. And then when he becomes that next step, even though it will be quote unquote a backslide, something like an apprentice one, that apprentice one is going to get paid more than a journeyman three. And then the actual electrician, the actual standard occupation, right, or master electrician, whatever you want to call that, if you did it again in 3 years, they would backslide again on the pay scale, but their rate would still go up. And it's to reflect the fact that in that position they have lower seniority than somebody else who's been doing it for more years, but at the same time they have more experience than um, those lower level positions. So
right, and it's and that's one of the beauties of working within a union structure. I
yeah,
remember um because it was like, oh, you have this many years of experience. Okay, so here's this grid for your job. You have this many years of experience and you have like this certification. Oh, okay. That entitles you to this much. And we're gonna bump that up every so often.
yeah,
And that's delightful. It's delightful to experience that. It's not like that if you don't have a union job. It's not like that at all.
yeah, it is vastly different because again, the biggest thing is they get to discriminate pretty fucking freely. They don't have any kind of limitations on their ability to discriminate, and that's really, really painful. And they say they do, but the thing is, you have to have money. You have to have enough
Fight
money
them.
to overcome it because you have to be able to exercise that in a court of law. That's not easy.
You have to affirmatively declare a grievance.
Yeah, you have to affirmatively like in the union. All I need to do is grieve it. All I need to do is make a complaint, and I have a support structure to back me. That to some extent has to be paid for by the very employer I'm grieving against. Whereas in the private market, I need to be able to afford an attorney. I need to be able to keep them on retainer. And I need to be able to use their services to see this case through. And it can take years. The private market has a huge advantage over you there, and then it's freaking brutal. Now, within the state structure, there are people who are terrified of retaliation. But I'll say this: the most common problem I have is that people won't even set it up to be retaliated against, which they would have an edge on. So that concept in the private market is just your employer continues to push the behavior because they know they got you over a barrel, right? They can do whatever they want. And if you make a complaint, they make it even worse. They change your shift. They give you these screwy swing shifts. They torture the shit out of you. In what we do, if you make the complaint and put it on the book, somebody will investigate that. They have to because they have to resolve that outstanding complaint. They have to make sure there's no wrongdoing. Then, if that complaint is found to be justified, they have to take steps to ameliorate it, right? And if the behavior continues after that, then we have to have a new complaint, but we will escalate, right? You can discipline these people. You can put them under some kind of thumb, at least up to a certain point. Now, we can make arguments about, like, could that happen to the governor? No, it couldn't happen to the governor. That's not how it works with the governor. They would have to go through a political process. But within the actual structure of the day-to-day workers, it very much is how it happens. But what ends up happening is people get terrified of retaliation, so they never make a complaint, or they say, I'm being retaliated against. Well, retaliation is a specific type of political concept in these workplaces where you have engaged in it, and then they do something else to you. You've engaged in a complaint, and they've done something else to you. And it's very critical because if you never made a complaint, all they're doing is keep doing the behavior. They haven't retaliated. You can't charge them with retaliation or intimidation of a whistleblower because you haven't blown a whistle, dumb motherfucker. And I'm sorry I say it that
Those
way.
bastards.
Yeah, kind of, because what you do is then you permit the behavior you're bitching about and you waste all my time screaming about it when I need you to
So you,
punch. I can't
so
I'm not allowed to
this
swing on
whole
your behalf.
time, this whole time, Coffee Spoony was right to try and fire those fucking.
No, that's the private market. Coffee Spoonie is a different problem. That's external harassment.
Oh, good. Thank God. I was
No.
worried I'd have to like change anything about my opinions.
No, but what I am saying is if you're not making any
Jane,
complaints,
we would never stop hating.
I appreciate you, June.
Word.
yeah, that's the point though. Like people conceive of it as like I said something to someone, but you didn't lodge a formal complaint. You didn't lodge a formal complaint, so we can't put it on the books. If I can't put it on the books, I can't point to it and say because this complaint exists, this person is now escalating their behavior to retaliate against them. So I can't protect you. You haven't given me the armaments that are necessary for me to protect you. It is a give and take relationship. It is my responsibility to do all the emotional labor that everybody fucking whines about. But in exchange, like the exchange is you offload that emotional labor onto me, and then I get to go swinging. I get to do the thing I like to do, which is fight for the people. Because now I have a weapon to go do the fighting. I have something to point to and say, this is egregious, hence the term grievance when you file something in the union. You give me a point of grievance that I can attack them on, and I can make them cease the behavior, or I can make them explain the behavior, or I can force them to always have a witness and a mediator on the behavior to make sure the behavior is not out of policy and line. I can make them change. Say it's something that you didn't want to do, but the way they deliver it to you is, listen, fuckface, you're going to do it or I'm going to cut you fucking up, right? They can give you an order, but they can't tell it to you like that. They have a certain amount of respect they are required to have for you, and we can force them to engage in that respect, right? But if you don't make a formal complaint, you disarm your union. You are not doing any service to your union brothers and sisters. And likewise, these people now, especially because we have a lot of work from homers, right? They don't have that sense of unity. So what they end up doing is they end up undermining us because they won't make a complaint because they go, it's not my problem for 3 weeks. Well, in 3 weeks, that's all I'm going to fucking hear out of your mouth. So why not make the complaint so I can start working on it?
And they don't.
I need to. I have needs that I need to
You
do within my
can't
shop.
defend them Like, you can't defend their rights if they're not asserting them.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I can't protect your rights if you don't fucking exercise the fact that you fucking have them. If you
Yeah,
ignore your
the
rights,
best way to disarm people is to pull the wool over their eyes.
it's not even pulling the wool over their eyes.
Go back to sleep, my dude.
It's literally, if I tell you this is what I'm fucking talking about, I need you to trust me that I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, I need to tell you, like, I need you to know if you do not do this for me, I can't save your ass, and I want to cover your ass. That is the end goal, is to cover your ass.
And they're like, oh, sounds hard.
Yeah, basically, it's easier to just
That might
ignore it.
take emotional labor from me. I'd rather if I didn't do that.
I'd rather spend that emotional labor whining about it later than I would exercising it now.
Right. I'm glad you figured it out.
Emotional labor.
Crying over the loss rather than doing the work to maintain.
And the killer is, outside of like a meeting or two, I do all the goddamn work. I'm the steward. I'm the one who has to argue with them. I have to point out where the contract violation is. I have to fill out the fucking paperwork. I do it for you. That's why
It
they
sounds like a lot of.
that is why the corollary to that is why I get paid to do this on company time, because I have all these extra responsibilities. If you don't want to steward, I'm sus on that. I'll be frank. You should want to lead. You should want to help the fellow workers. But let's say you want to be part of the union and you don't want to lead. You don't want to be the guy who rocks the boat. Okay. Well, then I still need you to do this work, because I need you to give me the tools I need to stop egregious behavior in the workplace. If you're going to take those from me, like, I'm getting a cushy ride because I don't have to do, I'm still getting paid. For what little union shit I end up doing, I'm still getting paid, right? The employer still has to pay me for that because this is how the system works. So they have to pay me for when I have to do banal work, but I don't have to do the hard work because you're not making me do it. But that is the effective service, though, that you are rendering to yourself, because you're not exercising the rights in front of your face.
And it's also not like you can like walk around like Sherlock Holmes being like, oh, I I detect the faint odor of labor violations in the air.
Exactly. I have no right to do that. I can't grill people. I don't have any authority there. I have the authority to act if a complaint is lodged. So without your help, I can't do my job. And I didn't try for this position within the union election process, the democratic process available, because I didn't want to do it. I did it specifically because I did want to be able to do this for people. I like that. I like the exchange that they're going to pay me to yell at people. So I ran for the position.
Hey, some people like to yell at people. That's okay.
Yeah, I like it. So give me a reason to go do my job. But the corollary to that is, if I'm going to do that, I need you to give me something to yell about. If you don't give me shit to yell about, fuck it. I'll go back to doing my work too, but I don't need to hear about it all the time if you're not going to do the thing you need to do. And you get into stuff like, well, I'm planning on quitting anyway. Well, then why do you care? Throw the punch. Throw the punch. That's worse. Don't tell me. People will be like, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to quit soon. Okay, throw the punch then. It ain't going to cost you shit in the long run, is it?
Right. If you're not
You might as
worried
well shit in
about
the sandbox if you're not coming back.
Yeah.
if you're not worried about repercussions, why not stir the pot?
That's
Actually, I mean, I deliberately did that when I left jobs.
yeah.
Because why not?
Why the
Why
fuck
not?
not? You're leaving anyway. You just said it, so who gives a shit?
Right.
Let me
And
go have
if
my
they're
fun.
like, oh, who started this terrible rumor? And it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, she doesn't work here anymore. But, you know, she felt strongly enough to lodge a formal complaint.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. Like, go ahead and throw the punch, because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna have to be there tomorrow anyway. There's all sorts of shit like that, or I might quit over it. Well, here's an alternative to fucking quitting over it. Then why don't you let me go start doing what I do best? Let your steward do his fucking job. Make him do his job. Make your steward do what he's supposed to do. Make him throw the punch. It's fine. I'm not offended. I'm not worried about the emotional labor or whatever fucking thing, which I am. Things are hard. I don't really like. I think you figured out that I don't really like that terminology. But
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, not everything is work. Calm the fuck down. Existence is not misery. It's miserable the more you like. There is an amount. Like we live in America. We do not live in Gaza. There is an amount. There is an amount that there is a bit of an affront to me that you are like using these words to describe the banal act of bitching is emotional labor. Just fucking tell me.
But
Let me go start swinging.
let's take that idea to like its logical end. Like, what is that ad absurdum? Like
Uh-huh.
if that's as bad as it fucking gets. No, that's I Jesus, I lost the thread.
That's okay. If it's as bad here, if it's as bad as it fucking gets, then why not give me an opportunity to fix it for you?
Right, like if
If that's the worst that's gonna happen, let's do it. Ain't nobody getting shot where I work. Ain't nobody getting stabbed. Ain't nobody getting
there's
beat.
yeah, because I mean, like at a certain point, there's no amount of money. Okay, your mileage may vary, but for me, there's no amount of money they can pay me to be miserable all the goddamn time.
I am so cheap. I'm so cheap. You can make me miserable. I have paid
See,
for
I
that
I
service.
can't with it. I can't with it. There was this one. So I spent a little time in an inpatient unit working, and wasn't there long because I thought the wrong people had the keys. Um.
Sure.
So anyway, yeah, but like it was so fucked, and it was like, but the thing was, like, I went in with high hopes, like, oh yes, I'm going to be a
I
force of
can
good.
make a difference.
I'm working for the state, and I'm gonna make a difference. And that union was really nice. I
It
was
is.
I was well compensated. Um Base pay, I was making enough to make the choice to work 4 days a week instead of 5. And I could go as low as 3 and still maintain my benefits.
That's a pretty
Um,
dope deal. I see that our union doesn't have anything like that just based on the nature of our work. Like we are Monday through Friday 8 to 4. We have to be available to the public. So like we don't have a choice like that, but that's pretty dope that your whatever division you were in did have that available. But
but I'm saying,
that thanks to your
so all
union.
that shit was great. But, well, and also like the fact that like part of the thing was like everybody was always like, oh my God, like, why won't you take a full-time position? Like you could do this thing. Like, we love you here. Come take the full-time position here. Um and like you can rack up so much overtime. Like this one lady told me, she's like, I paid the mortgage on my house with the overtime from when I first started working here.
Yeah.
Right? Right. Um but sincerely, like, just like it was so bad there, like no matter how much they paid me, I couldn't, the cost to my soul,
Yeah,
I, I couldn't anymore.
it's not always the easiest work to do, and I understand that. Like, but if you're
Soul crushing work is the norm.
yeah, if you're pissed off about how somebody disrespected you when yielding an order, right? That's not emotional labor. You need to tell me so I can just go tell them you're gonna have to speak to the employees with respect and watch your goddamn mouth. That's not emotional labor. Like depending on what you have to do in relation
No,
to
no, no.
I'm sorry, it's not. I really like that is a misuse of that phrase. That is the problem with using
Absolutely.
therapeutic language in everything is that we misuse these phrases and water down they're very real meanings. Emotional labor is like I had to talk to another drug addict today. Their fucking dog died and they just shot up heroin, nearly OD'd. It's real fucking tough to
Or
see that.
hey, I gotta go work in the babies with cancer ward.
Yeah, I got to work in the babies with cancer ward. I had to triage somebody and they didn't make it. I had to watch them die today. That's emotional labor. That's real shit. I'm not
Right.
downplaying it. I don't like the term, but whatever you would call
The,
that, it's
the
still
term
real.
as people use it is not,
Yeah.
and so fuck it. Like now the term has lost all its meaning.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah. It loses its seriousness to it, and it really fucking irks me because you have people. It's like it's like these quote unquote disability activists who are like, the corollary to that is the other side of that is the disability activists who know they have the advantage and then they start pressing everybody else around into whatever their insane fucking thing is. Like, if you're disabled, you shouldn't have to go outside. Not everybody with a disability precludes them from going outside. So, like, let's not fucking act like that's the most atrocious thing you've ever heard. You know? Especially when there's a right winger in the same thread who's telling you to kill your lazy ass, and you're like
Tell me
telling
they
me to go
never.
outside is murder. It's like, nah, it's not
Is
though.
effectively killing me.
Is effectively killing me. When that guy
Mm-hmm.
said, "I'm going to come to your house and rape your disabled ass and then murder you," like, yeah, okay, which one? Which one was the hate speech again? I'll wait. Like that's like some of that I think is just
Obviously,
slant.
obviously, that's you telling them that they can in fact go outside.
Yeah, remember when touch grass was hate speech? It's that kind of a thing. Like they're telling you to get in touch with material
Hate
reality.
speech.
Yeah, the disability people, like the disability
uh,
people, the I hang out on Twitter all day because I'm disabled gang.
Disability people.
Like
it's,
there's a lot of that just fucking disgusts me because it's again we're misusing.
God, excuse me.
I'm like
it's a shame because those are the ones we hear from and not the we usually like we're the real ones.
yeah.
I do mostly hear the real ones, but like because I like block out the other ones. But
How much work do you have to do that? Not emotional
it,
labor. I just
it's
mean
it's
actual
regular
labor.
maintenance. It's pretty regular maintenance. Like I got to get the bots. I got to get the bad actors.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
For me, it's conservation of energy because it's like I never pursued a bunch of shit that other people did in the first place that's coming back to haunt them as far as like who has their contact information and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's like with the trans group because like I get like all these strange bots trans bots. It's like painful. You gotta like
You gotta
like
figure
it's
out who knows.
obviously a bot. So now we just got like a whole list of bots because I follow a couple trans creators. Like damn,
Yeah. Punish for your good work in helping the
you
community.
follow the disabled. Now you got exercise being fascism. Oh, we're great, great.
Yeah. The presumption here's the problem with it, right? Like Danskin's guilty of this kind of thinking too. I would argue, right? The presumption is that we understand that there are exceptional individuals in every population in both the positive and the negative, right?
Yeah.
The normal experience, if you take a right winger's conception, a normal experience
there's
is a
no
very
such.
narrow
There's,
middle. It's
I
it's
mean,
it's an excruciating middle that it purposely is meant to exclude because their worldview is based entirely on hierarchy. So the counter thinking that the idea that is proposed by a lot of people is we have to game out every extreme in from that default conservative normal, and then we have to account for it before we take any action. There are 8 billion people. Mathematically speaking, there's more than one extreme in the extreme positive or negative that has to be accounted for then. And while you're fucking around trying to think about every single one of those instead of being willing to be adaptable, the right wing is threatening to murder people or doing workplace shootings. okay? Like, there is a cost to inaction. Your desire to do good has a cost as well. And if you're not spending your time and efforts properly, you can have all the good you can be correct, right? You can say I'm wrong and you can point out I'm wrong, and I might even be wrong on parts or all of it. But while you were proving me wrong, these motherfuckers took away abortion because you didn't spend your labor the proper way. You spent it fucking around in theory world where you're safe. And when you're dealing with fascists, nobody is safe. Your comfort in every fucking step of the way is a detriment to the rest of your comrades or your would-be comrades or the people you're acting on behalf of.
It's temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary and it's illusory. It's a luxury that you have. When they talk about privilege, they can throw it everywhere but that. You have the privilege of inaction. You have the privilege of theory work and paralysis. And you go, well, Dan, you do a lot of theory work. I steward all day. That's what I do. That is my contribution right now. It is minimal. That I don't have the influence. Y'all fuckers don't watch enough. You ain't giving me money, and I ain't asking you for money. I'm going to do what contribution I can based on the scope of the influence I have. That's what the rest of you do. That's why I like you. We don't have theoretical inaction disguised as care. You know, it's concern trolling ultimately.
Yay,
Yeah.
yay.
You know, we don't have that. We don't have the luxury of that because we all do something in our day-to-day lives that requires us to actually labor and help somebody. You know, so like I said, you can prove me theoretically incorrect all you want, and I very well could be. The counterpoint is like, you know, while you were doing that on Twitter,
Doing shit. I'm out
I
here doing shit.
I did something, right? I furthered something an inch. I radicalized my workplace just a tad more than it was the day before because I have a forceful personality and I acted and I quote unquote did the emotional labor for the majority. You know, that's it.
Fuck yeah.
There is a poisoning in always thinking in the extreme minority. That is a conservative conception as well. Is always worrying about the extreme minority because the extreme minority right now is white people. There is a small contingent of white people who are extremely radicalized and they are an extreme in their behavior patterns minority. It works the same way in both directions. If you are going to cater to that in either direction, you are eschewing other people with real ass problems, and it is in and of itself the real problem to be solved.
So you're saying there's a bunch of crazy white hype beasts.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, but what about the white people?
What about?
What
You're
about?
right. I forgot the rich whites. I didn't think about their feelings enough.
Nobody thinks about the whites.
I'm just saying, nobody thinks about the white man anymore.
Don't forget the white ones.
Yeah.
Let me go cut out a sheet.
You know, so again, like when I think back in the coffee spoonie, we had our fun making fun of it, but ultimately, like what you have there is somebody who has a privilege there and refusing to acknowledge, which is the privilege of being able to fucking torment somebody else. And instead of finding an avenue to negotiate that appropriately in a way that could bring a resolution, they took it to the manager. They Karened out. You know, they Karened out, and that worker is going to be hurt for it. And that worker is hurt precisely by being in that economic arrangement because it's alleged that they are able to profit from the endeavor as if they were capital holders on par with Jeff Bezos, which is ridiculous. Well, that's what those independent contractor jobs are, right? That's all those are. If you work like Uber or DoorDash or whatever, you're an independent contractor. You're considered a business.
Yeah, it's a trick to mislabel employees.
Yeah, it's a trick to not pay taxes for a rich guy while you get paid $3 an hour. It's the best of both worlds. You get a slave out of it.
We're
Right, because
so
they don't have to
we're
pay
so
payroll
innovative.
taxes.
Yep.
We're so forward thinking.
Yeah.
We're
We're
the future of work.
We're the future of work. We're going to give you, the individual, the opportunity to pay your own payroll taxes.
It's
then
that WeWork model. They saw that and just like creamed
Listen,
themselves.
taxes are
You mean we get to be
famously
the
easy.
business landlords for people who are their own corporations? What?
yeah,
Hell yeah.
Dude, when I signed the lease for the place I live right now, the realty office was in a WeWork.
you're kidding.
Oh, damn. I'm
No, I
sorry.
love it here. I love it here. I love it here. Never let my household gods think I'm not grateful.
Man,
I do love it here.
mine got
But
sold
that
off and
cracks me up every time I think of it, man.
and now it's getting real shitty and I'm gonna have to move at the end of the year.
Oh, well, I don't know if you know or if I had mentioned it at the time, but I went through that same shit last year.
Every year. It's every goddamn year.
Oh, that
Well,
they sell it to somebody
not every
else.
year, not every year, but like, you know what I mean. It's a steady process. You find some place, it's good, then like 2 3 years later, it starts
Right.
getting not so good, and then next thing you know, they're raising the rents, and it's not worth what you paid for it
But then
anymore. So
again, no place is when you start to look around.
right.
Yeah.
I
So you
was
find
so
something that's like right on the precipice of being decent, and then repeat the process.
hmm I remember I was so fucking pleased when I had been someplace long enough and I felt secure enough to uh, plant asparagus.
It's a nice
Yeah.
feeling.
Well, yeah, no, they're you you buy these things, they call them crowns. It's like a root bunch. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: when you plant them, and you gotta do what you gotta do to plant them, but um, you're not gonna harvest from that for 3 years.
Yeah.
You gotta caretake it a certain way to make sure you can harvest it in 3 years. So you gotta feel secure in your location.
Yeah. It's it's fucking tough. The WeWork, I will say this: the WeWorks are great because that's just landlords. I like how they're like, it's the future of the workspace. You're renting a workspace. That's what a lot of these companies do right now. They rent their workspace.
Wait,
I don't know what the fuck you're
is
talking
it
about.
so is it so there's somebody in between them and the renter, so it's like you don't know where they live, but they know where you live.
Almost. I mean, like the thing with WeWork is they were a real estate company that bought up office space and then rented it out.
Right, like independently, like you didn't have to rent the whole fucking floor.
Yeah, you could rent offices, individual cubicles, even to do work.
Right.
So
It's
they
like they're taking that co-op idea and co-opting it. Funny enough.
turning it on its head. Yeah, they completely turned the goddamn relationship on its head.
But here's the thing, if it's something where like, you know, a person could meet a person at a table and sign some fucking documents, um why go through all the trouble? Well, there's a plausible address there, isn't there?
Yeah, but why couldn't you do it at a coffee shop and use your home address as your business address so you can take the itemized deduction? Why couldn't you do that?
Right.
Why did you insist on paying rent to WeWork because it was catchy? Did we have a WeWork movie?
Well, it's more that like sometimes you do need like a meeting, like a place to do meetings, and or you need to have like a couple of like tech workers or hardware workers or something where
Oh
really you
no,
need to.
if you wanna no, if you so I agree that it's cool that there's places that do that
It's because it's
for
crowded.
like
You're
if you
crowded
do
out.
Yeah.
if you need Christ, like okay, like let's say you play a lot of Magic the Gathering and you do it enough that I don't know, you either like spend or earn money on it. Um your company, if it had enough money, could uh get a big space to have your stuff in. Wouldn't that be nice? But like, do you want to like rent that under your own name? No, you don't. You want to buffer. You want to buffer, and I think there's a place for that.
Well, yeah, but okay, let me play devil's advocate here. Why couldn't there be a public space where you could do the exact same thing? Why did
Oh,
we
it would
need the
be great if
landlord?
there were.
Yeah,
It would be great if there were, but I've tried to find those public spaces through my job and also like, you know, personal pursuits, and it's difficult and expensive.
No, he wants you to say the meme. It's the capitalism.
Thank you. You
Oh,
have always uniquely understood me. Why did we need a landlord? It's the capitalism. Dare I say apple of my eye on this podcast, Mr. Michael Jordan Peterson. You have
Oh,
always
an honor,
understood
an
me.
honor, an honor. It's an honor.
Yes, you understand the problem. The reason we can't have that shared public workspace. You know, it's like, do you remember way back when we started and we would get in those battles with John? And I said, well, I would like to see libraries expanded to the size of malls and more entertainment forms captured in them so they're publicly available. Do you remember that?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Why can't that be put in a library? Why can't there be work conference spaces in a library as public space? And the answer is the library is under the same economic pressures. The library is perfect. In the library, like a lot of people profess to like this, so I'll just say it bluntly. Everybody else has to shut the fuck up in the library unless they're in the side room that they've reserved for some reason. So why is it that we need WeWork to function as a $40 billion a year real estate company, absorbing commercial real estate that could be owned by a cooperative or Shutters, a capitalist, which is actually a lord, although I guess we're ranking Hitler's now, so I'll get out of that game. But
It's a level 256 Hitler.
yeah, instead of it being a level 10,
can
1024 Hitler, it's only a 256 Hitler. So
can I point out something that also um that I think is meaningful in that scenario?
what's that?
Not for nothing. Um, some people might feel uh uncomfortable being in an enclosed space with somebody they don't know. And I really like the idea of using a public library for meetings because it's like at least somebody else is around to hear you.
It's a shared public space where the social contract helps provide for the common defense.
Right, right.
Weird. Instead
There
of a
are there are other people around, and um because it's not a private residence or a private club
or even a private office.
or even a private, it's not a private area, it's a public area.
Yeah.
Anyone could walk through it anytime.
Yeah, even if it is a temporarily limited space, like, they could have conference room in these things, fields of them, frankly, where this work can be
Right,
done. It's still a shared public space to a pretty big extent where, it's not unreasonable that through the windows, for example, you can see what's going on in the conference room, even if you're not a direct participant. So you can just keep an eye out without doing
right.
without doing all that hard emotional labor of having to get into a fight in somebody's office and then do he said she said, because somebody can witness, yeah, that looked pretty negative to me, that right there, and it looked like somebody was yelling at somebody else or something like that, even if it's just that small conflict stuff, right? But it's shared, and we used to talk about this shit a lot, and why not? We're on going in what, year 8? We're going into
I don't
year 8.
know.
We got an election time. That's the last time we talked about this shit realistically. So there's a vision of society that we could have for very low cost. You would just have to expand the size of the public library and make it a more shared communitarian space and encourage people to come. And then people go, my favorite thing is then it's ableist to expect people to go outside, isn't it? We can't do that because there's a tiny minority of people who can't or won't go
Um,
outside. And now suddenly we're not allowed to do something like that, which means those individuals have acted in the best interest of capital instead of going, how are you going to include me? Which is
really, you're literal
but-
Hitler for even suggesting that they do that.
I
So
know.
I would like to point out that I use my public library all the fucking time without leaving my house.
Yeah. But for those things where
I
you would
get
need to go in person.
well, no, because here's the thing: like, if I actually had to pay for as many things as I read, I wouldn't be able to afford rent. Like, I'll read shampoo bottles if I got nothing else. And there's this cool app. There's an app. It turns out, that my public library hooks up with, and I can look through and find ebooks that I can then borrow and read on whatever device is pleasing to me. They also have audiobooks. It gives you access to like videos. Oh, there's a couple like video streams, Canopy and Hoopla. I watched I Claudius thanks to my local public library without ever leaving the house to
Yeah.
do any of that.
Because by enhancing the public library, society gains a mutual net benefit instead of a fucking hindrance that allows you to participate in the market in another way or participate beyond the
100%,
market.
absolutely.
Oh.
And I'm just saying, like, that public library, I don't think that's discriminating against disabled people at all. I think it
Well,
sounds
then
very helpful.
I'm blind and can't leave the house, so you're discriminating against me. Therefore, you're discriminating against all disabled people. Instead of how
There's
can
audiobooks.
yeah. Well, I'm also deaf.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I'm sorry.
I know.
and
It's your
also,
fault.
I'm gay. It's a hate crime.
It's yeah. It is also a hate crime because I'm gay to boot. I'm gonna weaponize my identity for this.
Okay,
Sir,
so
I am going to need you to prove it.
Yeah,
but we're
I noticed my
okay.
dick is not getting sucked. Yeah, you say you're gay. Curious.
As long as we all agree that the way to solve it is to give more money to cops and military.
I was
Yeah.
just under the impression it was to suck more dick. My bad.
Yeah, fact. That's what I thought too.
Same
That's
difference,
not
right?
the same thing. Oh, that's the Navy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought we were going full Angel Dust and Has Been Hotel. That's right. I stayed relevant on the pop culture reference.
Mm-hmm.
What the
What
fuck's
does that
going on?
mean?
It's a very good show. We should watch that one.
It's really good, actually.
It is
What show?
really good.
What?
It's called Has Been
It has
Hotel.
been Hotel.
It's been around for a while.
Has
It has.
been Hotel.
It's only been out as a
But
show
they've
for
done
like a month though.
no. They've released it as a show. It's been available for quite a while.
The full series on the internet?
No,
Not the
but
like
Because I
they've
knew the
made it a
pilot
show.
was.
Is it an anime?
Kind of.
yes, American animation.
Yeah, it's American animation.
Oh,
It's
American.
not anime.
I.
Yeah.
But it's a unique style.
Not Afghanimation.
It's not
It's a unique
Afghanimation.
style, so it doesn't really it's like almost neither.
Yeah, it
But
still has
both.
it still keeps its Flash roots. It feels very Flash.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's really good.
It's
It
early.
also has like a whole cast of Broadway singers.
Yeah.
I need to see this.
And
How are we gonna watch
You'd love
this?
it. You'd love it. I think, yeah.
How are we gonna watch this?
It's up your alley.
I'll have to rip it from Prime somehow and then we'll watch it.
I can see if it's on Watch Cartoons.
Oh, it's on Prime?
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Yeah.
Oh.
Only good thing about Prime right now.
Does Prime still have watch parties?
I don't know if they do or
Oh
not.
no, and they're all about to get rid of their password sharing.
Yeah.
Well, no, but what I was going to say is they used to have a thing where you could do a movie watch along on Twitch if you linked your Prime account, like a Prime account.
Is Twitch still around?
Yeah, we stream on there, believe it or not.
They're
We are currently streaming on there.
they are
This is
In
that question.
trouble. They are in trouble.
Why are they in trouble?
Because they're not making no money.
Well, they don't have to
Well,
Oh,
make
that's why
there's
money.
we're on
ads
them.
all the time, dude.
They just need all they need to do is box out you. They need to figure out how to box out YouTube. They don't actually need to make money.
You think they can
Amazon
figure
doesn't need
that
to make
out?
money.
Amazon makes enough money to float it however long it feels like.
No, the Wall Street Journal does from their billionaire donors.
That's
That's how he makes all his money. You didn't even know that? Yeah, he exists to
Yeah.
destroy markets. That's all he exists to do now.
Yeah.
And hedge people out in the market. Yeah. He
I
doesn't
am
make.
Shiva, destroyer of markets.
Amazon has never been profitable. The best they've ever done is run neutral, and that's because they will just start buying inventory to lower prices to not make any money on the next run in
What
order
do you
to
think?
avoid paying taxes.
Basically, they're
What do you
they're
think happened to all
large
those small
enough.
vendors? What do you think happened
They're
to all those
large.
small vendors?
Yeah.
They're large enough to make sure that they can manipulate the market if it doesn't suit them.
They do
As
the
it is.
They do the capitalism. They do buyouts.
They're excellent.
They build competitive products using the data that they mined from the product that they were selling on the page and offer it at a lower cost. They do all the things. They do the capitalism where they tighten it so they squeeze those guys out of the market.
Hmm.
They do all of it. Yeah, no quality control. Everything goes in the dumpster. Like
Yeah. They
like just
exist to do
straight
that.
up by the book.
Oh yeah. That's all they do. They don't make money. Amazon doesn't exist to make money. Amazon exists to generate a monopoly for Amazon.
I used to work there. It's a swarm of sharks. That's all it is.
Yeah. Worse people.
Amazon exists to take money away from others. It's
Mhm.
it's a delicious distinction.
That's what capitalism
Yeah.
does. That's what capitalism is. That's why they're like, yeah, I'm a capitalist, and you're like, all right, cool. Well, you're gonna hook you up to a vampire, right?
Yeah. It's weird that you told me you drink blood, but okay. You know. Yeah, that's all Amazon exists to do. They exist to avoid making sure that they like because the thing is they don't need to make money to make sure that the shareholders have an advantage. The shareholders get paid. That's part of the cost. Bezos doesn't make money, but Bezos gets to launder that income or loss of income because he didn't make no money. He gets to launder that as a loss. Amazon operates in the negative or near negative, and you're like, well, how can a business with that much money operate permanently like 100 or 200 million dollars in the negative? You'd think they couldn't
Because
exist.
they're that big.
Yeah, because they're
No,
that
they
big.
all do. It's the vampire economy. The not
No,
vampire, undead zombie
Because
economy. The
you
zombie
right.
economy.
Because
say what you will. Say what you will. Walmart makes money.
As long as there's something to suck, that bitch will keep sucking.
Yeah, Walmart makes money. Walmart pays
Most
taxes and makes
most
money.
most businesses aren't profitable.
No, not in their form. It's Walmart though notably does make money. They report profits of about 15 billion a year.
Yeah, they're just straightforward. Get stuff from China, sell it.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, like out of all of them, like the only one who gets a quote unquote pass on paying their taxes is in fact Walmart because they bother to pay their taxes. Sears used to.
They're basically drop shippers, but like they build a place to hold stuff for people to pick up.
Yeah. Oh, they got into that racket too. That's part of what's their profit has probably gone up. Their actual like before taxes profit.
Sold through Walmart.com.
Yeah.
Another,
Well,
another layer,
th-
another layer,
their
another payer.
goal, yeah, I mean they want to get a piece of your money, right? If you're selling shit on the internet, they want to get a piece of it and be the next marketplace. But notably, their how do I put
Use
this
our
properly?
payment system.
Well, how do I phrase this next part? Because obviously they're not fair. It's fucking Walmart. But compared to their competitor Amazon, these people are saints. You can actually, you right now anyway, in its current form, you could make money selling on Walmart.com. But Walmart.com also has zero quality checks. It also has, its return policy is shady at best if it's a third party seller. So like it comes with all the trappings of Amazon. But in as much as like, could you make money selling on there? You'll make more than you would on Amazon because Amazon is purposely using you as market data before they run you out of the fucking market. If you're not a short run seller, i.e., pump and dump, get it and go. Walmart doesn't mind the idea of you building your business as a parasitic institution to Walmart, one where they didn't have to buy it and you just gave it to them.
Hit it and quit it.
Yeah, Amazon's a hit it and quit it. Once they tapped it, they don't need your ass no more. They got the cow. The milk is free. Get out, right?
Yeah, now they're starting to run into the issue of they have to keep moving to new towns to burn through all the people there.
Yeah. Like Amazon will probably die in its current form within the next 30 years because it can't sustain itself. Especially if population rates keep dropping in this country. Like Amazon, like you want to know who's anti-abortion? Amazon. They need new people.
For real.
Need that next generation of workers.
Yeah.
But here's
yeah.
the thing. Like, okay, so
pro-immigration, anti-abortion.
But that guy who's separate from Amazon, but mysteriously still connected to its ups and downs and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could he not theoretically just like bleed money from his hoard, his mana pool? Could he not just like let Amazon be a vampire too?
Well, because he's already the king vampire.
Right, but
he's not sitting on that hoard of wealth. It's mostly in the form of like
Amazon.
hypothetical stocks in Amazon.
Yeah. He already is. It already is a vampire, so he can't make it a vampire.
He is already the vampire.
Yeah, he's Dracula.
Amazon is his blood boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Amazon is tapping out.
No, it's his Renfield.
Yeah, it is his Renfield for sure. And Amazon is.
Correct me. What is Renfield? Is that an unholy abomination?
No, Renfield's that.
No. That's
that's been manipulated.
It's
mortal servant to Dracula.
Yeah.
Right, like they're connected.
Like an evil.
But like they're not vampires.
Oh, familiar?
It's kind of like a familiar, but like a human one.
He's just a
but
slave.
Like,
oh, just a slave. Okay.
Yeah, he's just a slave. Renfield's just
makes
a slave.
sense.
Yeah. He's enslaved by the vampire. That's what Amazon is. It is the slave to the vampire to do its bidding.
Did you watch Game of Thrones, MJP?
I did.
Reek. That's Renfield.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you go. Am I wrong?
No.
Anyone that might have an opinion?
No, that's pretty accurate.
That's about right.
Welcome to Theon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the little dickless guy. Amazon is actually the dickless guy who just does whatever Master says because it exists to serve the vampire. And his purpose is essentially to clean up capital for investors. He needs to clean up and open up new capital for venture capitalists and extract. Amazon does a lot of carrion feeding. Walmart is trying to essentially acquire free capital from independent sellers right now so that they can just take over a lot of markets that way. And their gambit is because there's so much dead capital that Amazon is cleaning up, all these independent sellers who wanted to function like that will flock to Walmart. I don't think they're doing very well.
But they caused the problem in the first place. Because it used to be you could leave your house and go somewhere where you wanted to buy something.
Yeah.
And Walmart fucked that shit up.
Well, the department store is the herald to that, though. The department store is always going to do that anyway.
Yeah, the department store is a pretty dead model.
But it's like, even if there was a department store, there were specialty stores.
Yeah, but the department store existed to do that.
You might not have one in your town, but you know what? You would hear about a town nearby. So you drive over there or whatever. Like you would find like cool shit. And then Walmart came in and they would sell Not quite as good stuff, but a lot cheaper. And
Like a
all
lot
these.
cheaper.
Are you accusing Walmart of imperialist consolidation of business?
Yeah, monopolization.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and they knew what they were doing.
Right. So they took over the brick and mortar landscape. And now, do you mean to tell me that they're boo-hooing about their internet leverage over Amazon?
No, they see an opportunity for growth. They're not boohooing at all. They're very happy with it. Remember, Amazon has come along and cleaned up a bunch of excess capital to make it available. They're going to try to capitalize on it. They're not sad about anything in this relationship. They're very happy with what Amazon's done.
So is it like a Highlander thing?
No,
No.
you're glorifying it too much. Honestly, it's carrion feeders. The first wave of carrion feeders, the vultures have already gotten done with it. Now the maggots can move in.
God damn, that's depressing.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Walmart's going to move into that space because Amazon has gone through and cleaned up the capital for it. That's the relationship there. They're just carrion feeders.
So hold on, what was the name of that show? Because now I can write it down. I'm back in. I'm back. I have a pen.
Has HAZBIN Hotel.
HAZBIN Hotel.
Yeah, and also Keith David's in it, which is amazing.
What?
Yeah,
What?
he even does a little singing and
I
dancing.
love him.
No,
Yeah.
you don't seem to understand, Juniper. This is the primo grade A animation shit.
Yeah,
You're get your popcorn or weed or whatever you get to go with this, because it's gonna be fire.
it is. It is good stuff.
MJP, are you saying I'm in for a treat?
Yes,
You were in for a treat.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's good as shit.
Oh,
Thank you.
apparently it comes highly recommended. MJP and Dan and Jenks. It sounded like you were giving enthusiastic assent to that.
Trust
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a professor of animation.
I can tell you about some things professors did, but anyway.
Well, if it's consensual, it doesn't matter.
Or if you pay $10,000 for it.
Mm-hmm.
What if they're your professor?
then that makes me a back, right?
And you didn't so much consent as be standing there.
This is getting dark.
Well, the lottery is the lottery. Sometimes you fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
Sometimes you cock around and find out.
Oh shit. No,
Who ordered the
no,
BBC?
this was really tonight was really educational for me. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
I love this joke so much. It's what happens when you let men speak.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong for that.
I am. No.
Unfortunately, since we're on Discord and not on Twitter Spaces, I don't see a little thing where I can put that 100 emoji and make it float in our little shared space here.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'll just imagine that you just put a 100 over my head and then are hoping it falls on me.
Oh, you're trying to put it on as. Oh wait, you can't put it on the. Okay, I don't know.
No, I don't know how to. If there's a way to send emotes in this little like square rectangle thing.
Yeah.
You just gotta, when you click the thing, you gotta just type it.
You could do that, I guess. I just click the three dots.
Well, yeah, no, well, I mean, okay, so I get a little notification. Fucking around on my phone right now. Sorry, I gotta. All right, I gotta sit in a chair. Damn. I want to sit in a chair, but I'm gonna do it because my Rose is here.
All right, so I guess we're gonna start wrapping it up. Thank you for sticking with us the whole way through, MJP. We'll try to start earlier next week. We'll try to start at maybe 9:45. We'll start moving it up for you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So call time will shift to 9:30, just to help you out. Is there anything anybody would like to plug besides my butt?
Damn, you got the one thing I was playing.
I don't know if I'm authorized.
Oh, you're an
Authorized?
authorized user.
Unfortunately.
All right. Well, we're okay. So this is going to be a blind item. Yeah. Apparently, some there's a thing. Trillbillies. Do you know about this?
Damn, what about him?
I don't know. There's some guy that does work with them that's like gonna be on mindful wellness
Whoa,
coming up this week.
this week?
Really?
Where can they find that?
Well,
Well, of course the main place is they're on, as I said, Twitter Spaces. If you follow at True Horror 69. Basically Wednesday nights around 9, hover or like refresh your timeline. You'll see something purple and glowy, like a little disco thing.
like
Click on
almost
it.
color out of
That'll bring
space.
you in. We may or may not shove a microphone in your face depending on if there's a guest. If there's a guest, we're going to ask you to say questions at the end. Yeah, so that's how you get there. I don't know how. Oh, or you can also follow along at twitch.tv/mindful wellness. Yeah, we do a simulcast there. But like, who is this guy? What can you guys tell me? Anything?
Which guy?
I don't know. What's a trillbilly?
I'm excited to find out.
A
I'm excited
trillbilly.
to find out.
I thought it was a music thing.
It's a communism thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a commie.
Oh, okay. I
Dope.
see.
Oh, I'm
Oh
super
yeah,
happy to
I'm
hear
seeing a
that. Thank you
feature.
so
Oh,
much.
they're on Means TV. That's a big.
Yeah, that's a real big get. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said I don't know if I was supposed to talk about it, but fuck it, the cat's out of the bag. So.
Well, you got to
No, that's
advertise it
cool.
sometime.
That's cool. You got a guest feature. Yeah.
Well, we're aiming to do that more regularly.
You should mention it.
Nice.
Before the. You should mention it on Twitter, like right now ish.
Yeah. Especially now that our episode
Um.
came out.
Find out if you're allowed to, or at least find out if you're allowed to, because it's
Yeah,
pre-advertised.
knowing if you're allowed to advertise it would also be.
You can find out, and then
I was gonna say
tomorrow do a post, and then.
I wasn't given a street date, yo.
Oh, okay.
So that's happened. That's in the works.
Like I wasn't, yeah. Like so, I wasn't given the date that I'm supposed to advertise yet.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
I
you
just-
might. Well, you might still have me.
Holy shit, 2 listeners. What is going on tonight? Everything's popping off. It's all going crazy.
Oh Lord.
We got to get out of here before they catch us.
The pandemonium.
All right.
Dear God.
Good night, America.
Night, America.
Yeah. Oh, did you have anything you wanted to plug, Michael Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, I have a trip to Vietnam. If you know us, ping us and give us a link. We'll give you a link to the GoFundMe.
Happily.
Or if
Wow.
you or if you want, there's or if you want, I do art. I'm taking commissions.
Mm.
B, can you be a little more specific about what kind of art that like you
I do
will do or
painting,
like
I
to
do
do?
digital, I do vector, I do all the different medias. I've done murals, I do caricatures. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I got some paintings. I for a long time I was doing portraits at a large clip.
Wow.
especially of like a lot of them were like dead relatives where they never really got a good photo of the person. So I would stitch
Oh
it together in
yeah,
Photoshop and then
yeah.
paint it, and they'd be like, "Wow, this looks just like him," and you're like, "Oh, great!" And then money's
Is there
Appeared
anywhere where
out of
like
nowhere.
people can see your
a lot of
portfolio?
kid portraits, a lot of just family stuff. They just like portraits, portraits.
Yeah.
Right now I don't have any of the portraiture stuff up. I really just kind of like do it and then be on with it. And I didn't save too many pictures of it. Same thing with the caricatures, because like I just kind of do it on the fly. So I do have some paintings up. I think it's at. Let me see. Let me check and make sure it's in. I think it's at my portfolio. It's Darius.myportfolio.com. Yeah, Darius.myportfolio.com. And I'll post this link in the chat in the Discord.
Sweet.
That's what's up.
Distributed. That is excellent.
Yes. So, yeah, commissions. Taking a trip to Vietnam, learning some interesting stuff about that. Should be fascinating to see a country with like socialism or communism to some degree. It's already starting to be fascinating by looking into the history and last week we watched Sir No Sir, the film about the Vietnam War. It's on YouTube.
Oh,
It's on YouTube for free. Um, and that one
wow.
was interesting because it was talking about from the soldiers' perspectives what happened and how it went down, and essentially why they lost, why the yeah
But why the Americans lost?
yeah.
Get dunked on.
Why they were always going to.
Well, they had tight control over the like everything, and then that broke down when people were seeing like all the atrocities happening in front of them on top of being drafted to be there, on top of the race and class and all the other issues. Like it just they couldn't maintain the narrative. And you see interesting parallels with what's going on now in Palestine. Less so Ukraine, but in Palestine, you see that like these atrocities are happening, and we're seeing the images every day, and it's starting to feel a lot like that kind of like Vietnam situation, where
Yeah.
we might actually end up having a anti-war movement emerge out of it if we do things right.
If the masters permit us.
There's
No, if we be communist about it.
Yeah.
in a
It doesn't really take that many of us.
there was some
Dying over
talk
here.
in one of the chats the other day about like, like shit you witness or like that you live with because of your family. Like
Yeah.
I grew up in the era where basically like all of my friends' dads were Vietnam War vets. Like
Yeah.
all of them. And yeah, like that because that was the last draft too.
Yeah.
Although some people joined up out of because like why people always do.
Yeah,
Um,
poverty draft.
well, that too. That was just joining the military. Period. Um, not just the poverty draft, but there's also people who are like, oh, well, my grandpa did it and my dad did it, and I want to do it.
Yeah,
Brr.
yeah, that was actually the first thing that came up on that movie. It was like the guy who was like, "Yeah, I thought, Vietnam would be my war, just like my dad and my granddad, they all had their war, so I was really good." They was talking about they were like super gung ho at first, and they got there and immediately was like, "This is not okay."
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Uh huh. And the other thing is like that those guys that thought that for Vietnam, that was like, oh, this will be my thing. Like, oh, my, you know, all these other dudes did it. You ever like they don't tell stories about certain shit.
Oh yeah, no, they would
You
never
don't
ever with this.
you don't hear like you right. And I think some people miss that when like or don't understand that when they're hearing like, oh, war stories. It's like, yeah, there's a bunch of fucking stories they don't tell you. And
Well, I mean, how much are we really hearing about what the military thinks about it now, except for the official channels? You know, the
oh
individuals the individuals are very different from what the commanders and the empire is saying, and immediately the first thing that became clear in that situation is that A, they didn't like it, and B, they started defecting and were highly vocal about what was going on there.
right, and that's
Now all of a sudden you find yourself in an inquiry, and they're disbarring you and dishonorably discharging you because you don't want to, because like you just at one point you just had enough and you just stopped firing, you know.
Yeah.
you're just not willing to keep killing people for no reason.
They're like,
And
what's wrong? Like, I can't do this anymore.
and the US government responds with that Michael Jordan meme.
This is
Well,
this
I
is
took that
actual.
personally.
This is the actual emotional labor of it. Like, you got to go out and massacre villages, and like they were initially talking about immediately. They were like, yeah, we thought we would go in and we were like shooting like soldiers, but this was women and children.
Yeah. Well, it was another war of eradication because after World War II, everything was a war of eradication. That's all wars is now is eradication because the whole of society gets drawn into it so quickly. You know, modernity reaches everywhere. There isn't a rural space to fight a war in, and then maybe turn to sieging a fucking actual place. You know, that mode of warfare is over as of World War One, and as of World War II, it got transferred from the rural trenches, which were essentially, you know, on the fly cities, right, populated by all these soldiers engaged in pseudo urban combat, to actual urban combat. And urban combat, you know, is the realm of everyday people, you know. So all war is total war now, and the fact that instead of finding alternative mechanisms by which to resolve these disputes, we've just turned to, okay, we'll just always do a you know, there's no war without genocide now. It just can't happen. It physically can't happen because everything is considered to be total war target and total war eligible, thanks to World War, you know, largely World War One and Two, in my opinion.
Blast that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why people are so glib about that, not realizing the horrors that would come if they were in the glassing and lived.
Mhm.
You know, so everything's just all total war. I don't think I'm reinventing the wheel on that
Yeah,
one. I don't think it's an incredibly hot take, but you know, I do tend to agree with that assessment of the situation.
and
Yeah.
yeah, because people people don't understand. Yeah, like that's the whole thing. They don't understand what happens when your attempts to eradicate everybody don't take everybody out all at once, but just sort of
Well, you
like,
can. Like, that's the thing with populations. They're like spread out, and
Yeah, it's
people can hide, people can run, people can fight back. It's not just a simple, oh, we're just
I mean,
gonna
it's
round them
great we
all up
got
and be
drones
done with
now,
them. Like
right?
like you get
We
you
don't
like
even we don't even have to send individual soldiers out there to look for anybody anymore. Like we can set one guy at a desk and put him behind 20 little like robot helicopter cameras. Just like
not
doing a
really,
research. Just
not
doing,
really. At some point
no?
you're gonna
drones
have
can
to get in
destroy.
there and do that business.
Yeah, those can destroy. That's why they're
Every time you get a technology, there's a countermeasure.
well for the drones and shit like that. Drones are just they're you know all these. The bigger the bomb, the more it can siege. But ultimately, in a siege, you can't get everybody. Even if look at the nuclear bombings that were there that did a horrific amount of damage, they couldn't get everybody in that city. You just can't.
Yeah, there were people that lived and reproduced and carried on.
Yeah, the cities are still populated and those survivors still live. Maybe not for as long as they would have had that not happened to them, but you can't do it. The siege weapons are literally for leveling infrastructure, and treating humans like infrastructure is going to lead to war crimes immediately. But it's also not going to meet your goal. That alone is not. That's not a substitution for the down and dirty work of fighting. And in this era, that turned to just that impersonal siege weapon with the idea that we can just keep killing them and killing them and killing them, and eventually it'll stop, is not going to work because you're number one, the person doing the killing is not going to be satiated. There's never going to be a point where you can say they've had enough because to you it's an abstract concept, is the misery. Even if you understand it on a technical, a lot of these guys understand it on a technical level, but because the misery is abstracted, there is no point where you feel sufficiently the enemy has been beaten and it's time to stop. You don't ever have to feel that. Because you don't have to feel that, you're just going to keep pressing it and pressing it. And the survivors from, round 1 are going to become deaths in round 2 and round 2, round 3 and so on. But you're not going to get them all because it still takes a quantifiable amount of time. That's the premise to Palestine right now, is the fact that the Israelis are pissed off they let anybody live the first times they've been sieging, and they have been doing down and dirty fighting this whole time. And I don't just mean after October 7th, I mean for the past 75 years, and they still haven't eradicated the population despite what they've been trying to do. It's very hard work. It takes a
So
lot of human manpower, and it takes a lot of interpersonal negative labor to do it. And Israel hasn't been willing to do it. They've been operating off of a supremacist model where, because we're so much superior than these other people, not only do we have the right to eradicate them, but we don't have to put a lot of effort into it. They're not real people after all, which they're finding out isn't functional. And unfortunately, they've course corrected. Instead of turning to diplomacy, they've turned to just, all right, we got to push the genocide angle a little bit harder, apparently.
So it sounds to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds to me like you're saying that they have discovered that even if you don't have ethical concerns with genocide, it's not a good idea because it just doesn't fucking work.
It
And
depends. It depends on what your aspiration is. If
but
you're invested in dead Palestinians, it's working just fine.
right, but I mean,
That's it. That's the answer. If your goal is to eradicate them all, no, it's never going to work. But if your goal is to just eradicate as many as
as
possible,
many as you can.
all you do is win, 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 win. So
So as kind of like playing Pokemon Go and just murdering as many people as possible.
yeah, I mean that's it.
And sometimes I've never actually played the game, but maybe you get like a Mega Ultra Ball. And maybe you cause a mega death.
Yeah.
And wow, the stars that must pop up on your screen at that moment.
Yeah.
There might even be people with hearts in their eyes.
Maybe.
True.
Maybe the
I'm
real
sure it's quite
genocide was the friends we
experience.
made along the way.
Yeah.
No. The real genocide was.
It was just a genocide.
It's just genocide.
The real genocide was the genocide. Yeah. All right. But yeah, we're gonna get rolling. We love you, America. Do not die.